Welcome to the Best of Beaver County, presented by St. Barnabas, a weekly segment dedicated to putting the focus on the amazing things and the amazing people behind them in Beaver County. The Best of Beaver County is sponsored by and content is provided by St. Barnabas. The show airs every Thursday from 11 to 11:30 on WBBP, WMBA, 99.3 FM, and Facebook Live. Now, with no further ado, let's welcome host Mike Romigh to introduce today's program.
Good morning and welcome to the Best of Beaver County radio show on the St. Barnabas Radio Network. Since 1900 and counting, St. Barnabas has been caring for people in southwest Pennsylvania. Today in Allegheny, Beaver, and Butler counties, we offer a full continuum of care for our residents, patients, and community. The St. Barnabas Health System has developed into a visionary leader in the healthcare industry through compassionate and quality care, offering an array of unparalleled healthcare services from skilled nursing to extensive memory care activities and programs. Additionally, the medical center has world-class doctors and dentistry teams where patients can receive a full range of services under one roof that also include rehabilitation, home health and home care, hospice care, and palliative care. Building upon its heritage, St. Barnabas continues to reach out to those in need and lives out its mission through individual and institutional services which help the health and social needs of those in our community and in our care by increasing the quality of their life. Men and women are invited to join in the work of continuing Christian caring, healing, and teaching, and along with St. Barnabas, bear witness to its founder's reminder, God is able. In speaking with today's guests, you'll hear about what can be accomplished when the elements of teamwork come together for shared and common goals. Work, live, play in Beaver County is that goal, and together with our greater Pittsburgh communities, we're experiencing growth in many business sectors like healthcare, education, energy, shale gas, information technology, and transportation. Families are interested and intersected in calling Beaver County home. And joining us now is no stranger to the program or to the airwaves here at Beaver County Radio. Commissioner Jack Manning joined us once again. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and welcome back, Jack.
Same to you. Thanks for the invite. I always appreciate what you guys do here at the station. It's an important platform for communicating with the public. It's a great public forum that you guys have created here with the different programs. I love participating on the Ask the Commissioners, and was thrilled to get the invite to come in and speak with you, because it's been a while, Mike, since we've had a conversation. So it's always a pleasure.
How have you been enjoying being a commissioner in Beaver County?
You know, it's really been, despite a pandemic occurring like 2 months into into my first term here, it's really been everything that I thought it would be in terms of being able to tackle problems, add value, make a difference, create a better quality of life, quality of place for the county. We've had a lot of challenges. We've met those, but I'm a problem solver at heart, and really love those challenges. And I really think it's been a culmination of a series of events and experiences that I've had in my life that have prepped me for this position, that I'm now having an opportunity to have greater impact across a wider span of people and communities.
Are you finding politics in Beaver County across the spectrum in terms of cities and boroughs and communities? Is there a cohesiveness of people, sort of, are they after the same goals? Are they interested? And because I'm not hearing a lot of divisiveness around the county, it seems as though everybody's working towards the same goal.
I would agree with that, and I saw a lot of that in my chamber days. Obviously, I'm working across that, and in my downtown development days, working with the different riverfront towns. People are people. They want the same things. They want a quality of life for their family. They want to earn a living. They want to feel respected for who they are as individuals. And in our travels, that's what we're seeing. And I'll tell you, when I go to the County Commissioners Association in Harrisburg a couple of times a year, we're not experiencing in Beaver County things that are happening, the divisiveness that we're seeing, the vitriolic pull that we're seeing sometimes nationally with the loud voices on both sides. We're not seeing that here, and I'd like to chalk that up to the fact that we've got great collaboration with all of our row officers. Tony and Dan and I communicate well. We're on the same page. We may have different ideas and different approaches. We don't agree all the time, but on the things that are important, we're driving forward. I think that good governance is what is preventing some of the stuff that we're seeing in other counties that surround us, and certainly across the state. So I'm pretty proud of how we've come together. I mean, I campaign, I think we all campaign on good governance first and foremost, and that's what I'm here to provide.
And everybody wants their piece of the pie.
Well, that's always that's always an issue. But what I'm seeing is a tipping point, particularly in some communities that I've worked in the past, where people are understanding that growing the pie, making a bigger pie, or collaborating on a piece of pie better than everybody trying to grab for their individual piece of that pie is a much more conducive way to build a better community and to impact the residents in those communities. And it's being reinforced by things that are happening at the state level, where they're looking for multi-municipality collaborations when they're giving grants or doing different programs and stuff. So they're encouraging multi-county, multi-municipality type, and I think people are now starting to understand that.
And taxpayers are always interested in whether or not their tax dollars are being taken care of and well spent. At the county level, at the end of the year, you always go through this budgetary process. How are the finances in Beaver County?
Well, they're really good, and I think that's one thing collectively we're pretty proud of. Hey, I'm reminded every day who's paying me to be here and being on this radio. It's the taxpayers. They honored me with their vote, and they're paying.
They won't let you forget it.
No, and they shouldn't.
I'm your boss.
They want to. I've gotten a couple of those emails, and I appreciate the feedback. I need the feedback, and I need to understand who I'm working for. And it's not just the people that voted for me. It's not just the people that's more than I can. It's every single resident of Beaver County, whether they did or not. That's who I'm looking out for their health, safety, and economic well-being. Everybody. And part of that starts with our budget. We just passed a budget. It does have a little bit of an increase from last year. But it's a balanced budget, about $85 million for the operating expenses. And when you count all the cash flow from Harrisburg and everything else, it's about $260 million total budget. But we're in good shape. We have good reserves. We haven't had a tax increase for, I think this is the seventh consecutive year. Obviously, it predates me coming in. One of the great surprises that we had at the beginning of the year was coming out of a pandemic, our bond rating was increased. From BBB plus to A-. That may not sound like much, but I can tell you.
What does it mean to the people listening?
What that means is that lenders will look at a county like that as having their financial act together, as a place where we can get better rates on bonds if we need to borrow and those things, or for people to invest in. So it's a huge deal for people to do that. A lot of counties really suffered coming through the pandemic. And stuff. We were fortunate to have some circumstances to let us do that, and I think we all pushed back as hard as we could when the governor tried to lock us down and shut down the small businesses and stuff, because at the end of the day, our small businesses are the heartbeat and the heart and soul of Beaver County and the riverfront towns, and small business owners, that's where most of the jobs are created, and we had to keep them afloat.
Let's mark that one off then. Your taxes will not increase in 2023.
They are not. They're not.
There it is. Jack Manning says they will not. Now, speaking of taxes, it's an age-old question that people in Beaver County, have had it held over their heads for a long time. Property tax increases. What happened with that whole, the restructuring of the taxes? So
the reassessment is underway. We're moving into kind of the last turn of that race to get it done. All of the computations have been done. Early next year, people will start to get notices on this is the preliminary tax assessment that we've had. They've been crunching the numbers. They're doing their algorithms to figure out what each municipality, each neighborhood the taxes should be, and those notices should be coming out next year, and there'll be a whole year of education that explains exactly how they got those numbers and what they are, and then there'll be an appeals process, and then the taxes won't take place until 2024, the tax increases.
So
if there are tax
we'll all be
increases.
learning about it. All property.
Yeah, we will. But again, at the end of the day, a reassessment is tax neutral from a county perspective. Historically, a third go up, a third go down, the third stay the same. But it's really a tax fairness issue. It's a neutral process. It's not meant to be revenue generating, even though some people, including myself probably, where I live, may see a tick up in the value of our homes. Yeah. And instead of what people used to see with a lower percentage assessment based on your taxes, it will now be 100% assessed. So that number that you get will be the assessed value of your home. If you're going to put it on the market tomorrow, after you get that number, that's what they're saying is the market value of that house in that neighborhood right now. Okay. So it's a truer assessment value for everybody.
And so obviously some people are going to be happy, some people are not going to be happy.
I'm sure we're going to hear a lot. I mean, historically, all the other counties and locations that have done that, about at least 10% get appealed, and maybe we're trying to head that off by trying to educate as many people as we can, but clearly there'll be a lot of appeals process.
Who can't afford tax increase, no matter whether they're living on fixed income or whatever, will, obviously not look forward to seeing their taxes go up if that's the case. But others, many others who will see an increase in their property values will be able to sell them at a higher.
Well, I mean, that is the assessed value. I mean, even if you had a house that was currently assessed for $50,000, the market value of that may be $150,000 if you're going to sell it. Go through a realtor and list it and sell it. This is a true market value, and we're all very conscious. All three of us very conscious of the people on fixed income, which is why at the county level we've really held those taxes low, where people don't get confused necessarily, but misunderstand it. When it comes to the school taxes, those are the ones that we don't have control over, and that's the biggest chunk of the impact that it's having on those folks with fixed income.
So you have to talk to your school board about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now you mentioned small business in the first segment, and it was I'm seeing growth all over Beaver County. Here in Beaver Falls, there's a number of small businesses opening. So through the pandemic and perhaps into the future, there are people who are interested in opening businesses in Beaver County.
Yeah, for sure. I think a couple of things happened. One, believe it or not, as baby boomers were retiring, a lot of them weren't they were retiring from what was their core job at one time and starting their own businesses and side businesses and the like. But I also think the pandemic got some people to rethink what they wanted to do and what they wanted to accomplish in life. And it's really a spirit of entrepreneurism like I haven't seen in several years here in this area. And there's been a real tipping point, particularly in our downtowns, Beaver Falls and Monaca and Ambridge and Aliquippa. So a lot of people are want to be their own boss and want to be more in control of their own fate than working for somebody else and getting out of a job that could be impacted by the vagaries of Wall Street or by a recession.
Beaver County Commissioner Jack Manning is our guest on the Best of Beaver County radio show. I'm Mike Romigh. We'll continue to talk about what happened in 2022 and what to look forward to in 2023 with Commissioner Jack Manning on the Best of Beaver County radio show on the St. Barnabas Radio Network. Of the many things that make St. Barnabas Health System apart from the ordinary is an appreciation for their employees, an act that does not go unnoticed. Let's learn more about what this means from one of their employees.
Hi, my name's Susan Elleteri. I'm a registered nurse at St. Barnabas. Our team is responsible for the excellent care of our residents. Tending to their specific needs is very important. We pursue compassionate care, hard work, and kindness, and it is an extremely rewarding career, and I'm very grateful to have nursing as a career. It's extremely rewarding. We can acknowledge the goodness in our life, and I do believe that.
Find out about the exceptional career opportunities St. Barnabas has to offer by visiting stbarnabashealthsystem.com/careers for more information or by calling 724-444 JOBS. That's 724-444-5627. Find out why St. Barnabas is apart from the ordinary.
Now entering our 75th year of serving Beaver County. You're listening to 99.3 FM, 95.7 FM, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. Part of the St. Barnabas Radio Network.
It is the best of Beaver County. Our guest is Commissioner Jack Manning from the Beaver County Commissioners, and I'm Mike Romigh, and we're talking about issues surrounding Beaver County and that affect you as a taxpayer in Beaver County. We were talking about taxes in the first segment of the program, and that leads to some other issues as well that we face in Beaver County. Wanted to mention that, Jack, you did say you were going to do the polar plunge this year?
I don't recall saying
you don't?
that.
No,
I am there every year, cheering people on. But I'm probably not jumping in the
You're not going to be the one.
Not on a good day.
Can you imagine if that was last week when it was like minus 4 degrees?
My wife and I actually discussed that, saying how they're going to chip away the ice to get it. That was ridiculously cold.
But recreation, the areas in Beaver County, improving, and I continue to see reports about Brady's Run or Brush Creek, things like that. For families, it's a big thing to decide whether they're going to move to Beaver County. What do you got for the kids? It has to be family friendly.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the passions of mine in coming into this was really to solidify and upgrade the assets that we have. We have some wonderful assets, parks and recreation opportunities in Beaver County. We've invested a lot of that. Some of the American Rescue Plan money has gone into that. We've upgraded the courts at Brady's Run. We're putting in new water and sewer lines to upgrade the pavilions. We're talking about upgrading the facilities at Brush Creek. There's been playgrounds, soccer fields, all kinds of things that have been improved upon. We continue to invest in the parks. And I think again, the pandemic showed us how important outdoor activities were. Whether you're hiking, walking your dog, playing tennis, pickleball courts. Now that we've added pickup basketball games, and we've also supported parks here locally.
I have to
Second Avenue
interrupt you because I know there's a guy listening in the other room, and he's saying, what about Frisbee golf? He's a big Frisbee golf guy over there.
He is.
You got Frisbee golf.
The disc golf is something.
That's it.
There is one place in Beaver County. The county doesn't have any oversight over that. Those are a little more challenging for us to put together. But I know I was on a strategic planning thing going back 6, 7, 8 years ago when I was at the chamber, and there was a dedicated group of disc golf people that were at every single meeting saying, what are we going to do about that? We haven't done much about that. It's something that's certainly on our radar screen, but it's a bit more challenging to find those kinds of
obviously some requests that come before the commissioners, you got to think, are there that many people who are interested in disc golf or something else that people might, pickleball or those sort of things? But they're growing trends, I guess.
They are, but the fact of the matter is we need to continue to invest in our outdoor activities. That's what people want. That's what young folks want with their families. So making those parks the best quality of place that we can have. I'm very proud of the effort that we did with Bags and Blessings, a nonprofit group who approached me a couple of years ago about this idea of replanting the parks with trees dedicated to loved ones who had passed away from cancer and some other things. And we've planted with that group over 150 trees. They've sold out everywhere they went. We've done Brady's Run. Wonderful. We're looking at Brush Creek. We're looking at other areas that continue to do that. And those kind of collaborations, those kind of partnerships are what I really gravitate to. When somebody comes not just with a complaint, but an idea, you love that as a commissioner. You embrace that. You try and run with it. The idea to add the pickleball courts was something that we ran with and tried to get some things done. But I'd like to see more, quite frankly. We're not done. I'd like to do a bit more with our trails systems, so that we can add more biking and trail, and also more tourism that comes along with that. Sure. Because I think that's the one opportunity that we haven't totally exploited, which is tourism. And we're trying to have more kids events, family friendly events as well.
ARP, you mentioned that a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Explain it, and how are we benefiting from it as far as infrastructure is concerned?
So the American Rescue Plan Act awarded, as I like to say, the U.S. Treasury gave us back $92 million of our tax money.
Gave it back.
They gave it back, right? As a fiscal conservative, I get a little nervous about what's happening in D.C. and the debt and the deficit that's being created. But if they're going to give us that money back, if they're going to give us our tax dollars back, we're going to make sure it's spent to the best benefit, to the greatest good in Beaver County, and that's what we tried to do with that $92 million. So we broke up into 4 or 5 different categories where we were going to allocate those funds for different projects. I think you're probably well aware that about $20 million going into increasing broadband capability, internet capability. Again, if the internet taught us anything at all, if you didn't have the internet, you couldn't shop from home, work from home, teach your kids from home, do telemedicine from home. I mean, you were really lost. So the first stage is to really get about 1,500 or so parcels, homes that don't have it. We've got a couple of pilot projects that an RFP just went out. Work should be starting next year to start to connect those houses. And the second piece of that is to upgrade some of the communications in general, cell towers, for cell phone coverage, which many of us still get calls dropped as we travel around and can't talk to, but also just upgrade the quality for those that have old DSL service. It really doesn't meet the current minimum upload and download speeds.
Yeah.
So,
and there are people who are listening to this and they're thinking, who wouldn't have a computer at this time? Who wouldn't have internet access? But there are some communities in Beaver County that
absolutely. And there were some kids going to school, they had to drive to a Walmart parking lot or someplace to actually do their homework because they had no internet connection or capability at their home. So, and not only that, pretty much any new business that comes in, while they're always interested in water and sewer and electricity, I can tell you that connectivity, broadband service is one of the things, because so many new businesses aren't creating big new office complexes that are putting hundreds of people in there. They're all working remotely or working from home or not even working in the state sometimes. So that connectivity is an extremely important thing. So a big chunk of that 92.
Is there a date in the future for people to get hooked up, or is it just a process we're moving along?
Well, we have to have these current ones, and it's more than just a hookup. There's an educational component and some other things that we're doing with that. We're also networking and collaborating with the library system and some other things to help with broadband communication and education as well. But the American Rescue Plan money has to be allocated and a project started by the end of 2024. And those projects are supposed to be completed by no later than 2026.
Okay, very good. Jack, and I know before you were elected to commissioner, I know you were always very supportive of the library system in Beaver County. How's that working out? Yeah,
actually, our library system is terrific, and we're doing quite well there. We continue to support all 3 commissioners as much as we can. They have a lot of activities that they're doing. They're going to be connected in not just with this broadband educational issue as well, but the Beehive, the Beaver County Innovation Hub that's being created right across the street here, is also going to be spokes of the wheel of entrepreneurism and training and stuff there. So we're trying to connect them in. It's a great way to connect to people across the county in a broad swath.
So you've been able to continue your relationship with members of the community, communities like Beaver Falls or the CEDs, and help them along and listen to their needs and try and fulfill those. Yeah,
I'm connected. I mean, there must be 3 or 4 dozen groups that I meet with every quarter that are giving me feedback. Some of it's different. Somewhat different circles that I gravitate in as a commissioner than I did as the chamber, but a lot of those same connections are there, and I get that same feedback, which is great to understand what are the issues, what are the obstacles, how can we help overcome them. I mean, one of those was I was very connected with the fire departments for years there, and the issue of the upgrading the radios and going from analog to digital, and how was everyone going to pay for that? We got 47 fire departments and 34 police departments and the sheriff's department and 911 center. How were they going to get over the hump on that? And that's where another good portion of the American Rescue Plan money went, to help upgrade those radios. And those radios are in now, I believe, being programmed when we start to go out in place in the community. But that's a good example of a huge obstacle, a huge issue that we didn't know how to solve.
Do you think that's publicized enough from county government to let the people know that we're doing this and this is where the dollars are coming from?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, we try. That's why I like to come on these forums, or whether it's the Beaver County Times or the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette or WPXI or whoever it is, somebody calls, I like to kind of get the word out, because you can never communicate enough, and as much as you are communicating, you'll still have people say, well, I didn't know that. No.
Yeah.
We try. I just don't know how
it's out there.
How you can more effectively. I mean, communication is just a challenge in general, but we try to do the best we can.
Speaking of challenges,
to get it out there.
Yeah, it used to be quite a challenge. Still is in some parts to get from here to there, with infrastructure and things going on. Freedom Crider, Crow's Run, all that stuff. Those projects still moving along, still being able to connect us with Butler and Allegheny County?
They are. I was in a real good meeting with PennDOT a couple of weeks ago. There's some bridge replacement, bridge repairs that we're doing to obviously prevent big disruptions. And Freedom Crider Road, the circle's open now, but there's still some extension that has to be done. It's obviously painstakingly slow. But it's moving forward and it's progressing. And a lot of the infrastructure money that came from the federal government to the state is helping fund some of those projects.
Very good. What would you say that, as a commissioner, you're proudest of that occurred in 2022, aside from getting out of the pandemic, out from under the lockdowns and everything like that? As far as local government is concerned, what are you proudest of?
Well, I am just proud of how well we've worked together, all the row officers. Because, I mean, yeah, we sign off on the budget, but if the treasurer isn't collecting taxes, if the controller isn't controlling all the stuff, if the other departments aren't managing their services well, we're not going to be successful. But that bond rating increase, I think, is a good, it illustrates how well we've managed things, that unsolicited by us, the bond rating was passed. So at the beginning of the year, that was a great surprise. I'm very, very proud of that, because again, I think it demonstrates our good governance. But the investment that we've done in parks and recreation, I'm very proud of that. The way our small towns, boroughs have come around, and the tipping point I see with their success. I'm very proud of that effort as well.
In 2023, what can we look forward to?
Well, hopefully more of the same. We've got to get over this last hurdle on the reassessment. But I think you're going to see more investment in infrastructure that helps us. There's some bridge improvements that are going to happen. Again, those are PennDOT projects, not necessily
Ambridge Bridge. Is that going to last?
I don't know. It'll be 100 years old in 2 years. I've been talking about it, that we need to have.
Seems to be the biggest.
We need to have a plan on that. I'd like to do something with the Fallston Bridge. I believe we can open that up to foot traffic, and I believe that can be a great trail connector. I think it would really help this side of the river, help from Rochester to New Brighton to Beaver Falls. With some stuff. I'd like to see a lot more with tourism.
Cut off that part of Fallston, didn't it?
It did. And we own that one. That is one we do have control over as a county. And so we've had some conversations. I don't want to get ahead of myself there, but hopefully we'll be able to do something.
Okay. About a minute left. Shell, Palmer plant.
Yeah.
How's it going as far as your satisfaction is concerned?
Well, I'm not happy. I'm not here to be an apologist for Shell, but having worked in that industry, I do know that startups are the most difficult and tenuous time in any new plant opening up. They're obviously going through some startup pains here, but I will always defend that industry, especially from unfair comparisons or unfair criticisms. I still have great faith in the technology, the brilliance of the people that work there, the local people that they've hired, the people that built that. Our friends and neighbors all help build that plant. So I'm still looking forward to all of the other impact that they have. And I will say this, I mean, one of the reasons we got through the pandemic was we still had Shell pumping millions of dollars into the economy, which some other counties didn't have.
Jack Manning, Beaver County Commissioner, thank you for being with us as always. I know we'll talk more in the new year.
Yeah, that went quick, Mike.
It did. I'm Mike Romigh. This is the Best of Beaver County on the St. Barnabas Radio Network. We'll see you again next week. Stay safe and be well.
When you think about retirement, what images come to mind? Why not let yourself imagine enjoying an exceptional retirement lifestyle at the Village at St. Barnabas in Gibsonia? Attainable luxury can become yours because the Village has no large upfront fees and it's based on a simple annual no-risk contract. The only decision to make is when to move in. Call 724-443-0700 or click stbarnabashealthsystem.com.
Thank you for listening to the Best of Beaver County. St. Barnabas is pleased to have provided content and sponsorship for the program. Tune in this Sunday at 11:30 for an encore presentation of today's program on Beaver County Radio. And next Thursday at 11 for another edition of the Best of Beaver County on WBVP, WMBA, and 99.3 FM.